My video for July 14th, 2018 is entitled, "The Bible Requires Discernment." Wow. A longtime friend, another seeker like me, sent me a recommendation to watch a video by a man who also makes videos and calls his channel The Global Witness. It has 27,434 subscribers. I watched two of his videos. One, Q-Anon, Trump, and the Antichrist Apostle Paul, Urgent Time. That's the title. And number two, Moses served Satan. Mankind wants to be ruled, so Satan obliged. Being an avid Bible reader from my preteen years, these certainly caught my attention. From early in my life, I considered Paul the greatest apostle. And though I haven't read the Bible as diligently as I did in my early years, I never drew the conclusions this man reaches. Then another friend sent me a piece in which the author said, quote, "Nowadays I don't analyze my judgments or try to work with them. The minute I find myself judging, I repeat to myself, judgment, and drop the thought. That's the end of the matter." End quote. That man, Steve Beckow, was one who wrote many articles that I have read over the years. For me, there is a huge difference between judgment and discernment. The former means to condemn, while the latter means to evaluate. Yes, I quite honestly am struggling more and more, trying to not keep repeating myself with things that I have already made videos about so many times in the recent weeks and even months, and try to get some fresh ideas. So when people send me things, I try to pay attention. And this man, whose name is Derek Broes, B-R-O-E-S, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly or not, but I did spell it again, B-R-O-E-S, is in his former life, he says, he served as Senior Vice President of Worldwide Business Development at Paramount Pictures, a Viacom company. At Paramount, Broes has been responsible for establishing digital strategy, marketing, and helping to drive the company's most public partnerships, such as the Apple iTunes, Amazon, and Walmart partnerships. Prior to joining Paramount in 2006, Derek led the global wireless strategy and business development team for Windows Media at Microsoft Corporation, pushing entertainment convergence within the wireless space. Broes has been at the forefront of media and technology for more than a decade and is nationally recognized as an influential leader in the film and high-tech industries. Before joining Microsoft, Broes was an entrepreneur of successful media and technology companies, including the post-production feature film industry's first all-digital post-production sound design and editing facility located in Burbank, California. He was appointed there as executive vice president. And as I said in the blurb, Steve Beckow is a man who been putting out a lot of material for a long time, like me. And I have read many of his things, and I resonate with a lot of what he says. I just want to make that clear. But more and more, I'm finding myself not resonating with everything people say. Now, this global witness thing, this new venture for Mr. Broes, if that's how you pronounce his name, is quite interesting. I always held Apostle Paul as being even though he was not one of the 12 original apostles, he was the most important one to me. And I thought the Pauline epistles were fantastic. I mean, Romans and the 1st and 2nd Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, and the other ones that he allegedly wrote, to me, were very, very powerful epistles and spoke to my heart. And now, as I reach a point in my life where I'm questioning everything, of course, I've already reached the point some time ago that I greatly questioned the Old Testament, because how could a loving God be so callous and condemning others? And Mankind Needs to Be Ruled was one of his videos, or part of the title of one of his videos. Yeah, I guess, because we're so insecure. But why are we insecure? We're insecure because we've had our codons turned off. We're insecure because we've been enslaved by beings that seem to have come from another planet or another galaxy or some other dimension or something, and they claim to be our rulers. And we have followed them because we forgot who we were. We've lost our identity. We've not been able to reconnect with the God that's in everything. And we've been subjected to a world in which God is nowhere to be found, not even in our churches, not even in our synagogues, not even in our mosques, not even in our temples, not even in any of our religions. I mean, you can find inklings. You can find people in all of them that love one another and try to live as honestly and with as much integrity as they are capable of living. Myself, I'm one of them. But all of them have been infiltrated and used against one another to create conflict. And apparently, the rulers of the world at the higher levels, not even the human level, but at the higher levels, love conflict. They feed off of our conflict and off of our lack of discernment. Discernment is a gift of the Spirit. It's probably the most important gift of the Spirit. Now, the fruits of the Spirit are love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, etc. Against such there is no law. But discernment is something that's very, very important. It's more important than speaking in tongues or interpretation of tongues or prophecy or any of the other 9 gifts of the Holy Spirit. Discernment is the most important one. We have to, in order to develop that, we have to listen to our heart. Not our heads. Our heads will deceive us. But our heart always comes from a place of love. Not who's right, not an ego trip, but am I operating as best I can to love even those that have a different point of view? Am I willing to listen and hear them? Now, of course, I can't listen and hear them if they won't also grant me the same thing. Then the communication breaks down and goes absolutely nowhere. I mean, I've tried that. It's like banging your head against a wall till your head bleeds and you've got blood running down your face. And that's certainly not a condition that any of us would aspire to or want to experience. But we need to reach a place where we recognize the difference between good and evil. Good builds up. Evil tears down. Evil is always on the attack. Love is always trying to make a connection, to reestablish something that is going to be beneficial for all the parties involved, not detrimental to any of them. I try my best to come from a place of love. And I have to keep repeating that because people forget. And while I'd like to have, I have 12,000 subscribers or something like that on my YouTube channel. I no longer know how many views I get because all of a sudden, while the view count used to be a daily thing, I no longer know how many views my channel is getting or even how many videos there are on my channel. It doesn't show that only for the last week or the last month, but not for the whole history. And I probably have 2,800 videos now. I don't know how many these other people have, but in any case, folks, I really want to listen to people. I want to be able to hear what they're saying and to consider the points that they're trying to make. And that includes this man, Derek Rose. He made some, what to me seem like valid points that need exploration. So I invite you to explore these things. Thank you for listening, and namaste.